Hello everybody. JD Grauspitz here, lead singer of Malignant Bear. Doing something a little different today. Initially, my plan for the day was to stream this game, Warhammer Chaosbane, um, but I figured I would jump in and mess around with it a little bit first, just to test some levels on things and give it a little bit of a play. Given that it's an action RPG, I figured I would, get about an hour in just so I would have a little bit more skill variety and things like that, um, just so it would be slightly more exciting to watch. And I'm glad I did, because doing that gave me a little bit better of a feel for the game and made me realize probably don't actually want to stream it. It's not it's not a bad game. Um, it's a very mediocre game though. But I did want to talk about it. Did want to put some content out today. Um, Mostly because this is one of the games in this month's Humble Monthly, and it's one of the big ticket games in it. This game usually retails for $30, and there's also $60 worth of DLC for it. So if you're for example, picking up the Humble Monthly just for this game, you might want to know a little bit more about it. So I figured we would still do that. My apologies if the audio in game is a little out of whack. I tried adjusting it both in game and OBS, and just the audio balancing and mixing throughout the game is very rough. So one of the other reasons I didn't want to stream it. But this will be a fairly short video, just kind of going over some things in the game, just from the first act. So kind of the first impressions, which is, as much as devs hate it, the first impression is the most important. So turn on the desktop audio so you can hear it's a wonderful BGM, and switch on over to the game. So when you first jump in, you get some little cutscenes. And the cutscenes and a lot of the audio in this game, for some reason, the audio seems rushed. I'm not sure if it's due to frame rate or something else, but it's oddly sped up. The narrator ends up talking over himself several times throughout the cutscene, and it's kind of strange. So I skipped through it, and then I went with the what is it, the Wood Elf Ranger here as a character. I always like to play kind of the ranged archetype in games like this. I was a Demon Hunter main in Diablo 3 and things like that, so I figured this would be right up my alley. But we'll see. If you go into Create New, right off the bat, the game, kind of a bad first impression. So let's say, oh, this guy looks pretty cool. I wonder what he does. So if you click on him, it says, True Bastion of Chaos uses his shield and military strategies to turn his enemy's power against them. It doesn't give much more detail than that about any of these characters. So, I mean, obviously, a mage is pretty self-explanatory. A scout, if you just look at this character, it's kind of odd because she has a sword. She has no melee attacks. I'm not sure what the point of that is, but you get a bow. But again, it doesn't say a whole lot about them. There's two other characters outside the initial starting four. The Dwarf Engineer was from some free DLC, and the Witch Hunter is paid DLC. So, but yeah, so like I said, I started with the Ranger right off the bat. You don't get to change their names or anything. That's just what they are. And it's used in cutscenes and in game. Everything is fully voice acted. Voice acting is of questionable quality at times. But we'll jump in. So like I said, level 14. Oops. Right. Yeah, level 14. So, and this was only after just a couple hours. You can see there's the Magnus's Curse, which is the main story. Tomb Kings, which is one of the DLCs, and then one of the free DLCs was another chapter. I think it's a little shady that you get the first 4 chapters free, chapter 5 you have to pay for, and then you get chapter 6. So if you actually care about the story, you're going to be dropping another $10 on this game. Even the Humble Monthly version does not come with this. So we'll jump back in though, and kind of see where I left off. So this is your little hub area. You have to unlock pretty much everything in the game. Like, you don't start with the stash or anything. Like I said, after 2 hours, I still have not unlocked a shop. I have this guy. He is the you can donate things to him, and when you donate things, that unlocks it for your appearances. So can change my appearance to whatever I want based on these items, which is kind of neat, I guess, except that you can only really see it in this window here. There's no way to zoom in. I can't get the camera closer to my character outside of that. Just sort of a baffling feature. The game looks decent though. I have everything cranked up to ultra. Looks pretty good, and the frame rate is steady, except for if there's too many effects going on screen. I killed a Nergo abomination monster at one point, and my frame rate dropped from 144 to 30 when it exploded and little Nerglings came out. And it does that every single time you kill one of them. Again, looks good and mostly optimized, aside from weird things like that. Just like the audio. The audio, it's decent quality, but again, it's just sometimes sped up and just kind of odd. Which is kind of a reoccurring theme with this game, just oddities with it. Like I said, I can donate items to this guy and get the appearance. I haven't unlocked the ability to buy things. I don't know what these other things are, which seems a little odd. I had a lot of gold. I don't see where it's listed here in the inventory. I've been collecting tons and tons of gold. Not quite sure what the point of it is. I can't seem to spend it anywhere. Oh, there it is. So I've, 19,000 crowns. I don't know what that's for. Also don't know what these are for. These are fragments. I keep collecting them. Not sure what they're used for. But yeah, so looking at this screen, some of the other things, this is important for people who like games like this. Here's all my stats. Obviously, no explanation given on any of these. Most of them self-explanatory, but there's other ones. For example, what is counterattack damage? How do I use that? How do I counterattack? I haven't figured that out yet. Resistance to damage over time. Do I have a 3.4% chance to not take damage over time, or do I take 3.4% less damage over time? Again, not really explained. So you just have to kind of figure things out. The tutorial in this game is minimal at best. It doesn't explain much of anything that's going on. As you're going through and leveling up, though, this is an overwhelming amount of stats. The main thing you just want is attack and defense. And thankfully the game seems to be aware of that. So here you have an item. It's a Shabby Talisman. I guess this is a rare that I got from a quest. So it has all these stats on it. What is it not? Okay. So when it's not equipped, you can see it just has a little sword. That's how much it would buff my attack. And the shield is how much it would buff my defense. So you'll see once I start picking up some items, just doing one quest is going to fill like half of this window with loot. It's so much to go through because even basic items have at least 2 stats on them. So to actually try to min-max your gear as you're leveling in this game would be impossible. There's a weight system. I haven't seen it come into play. I'm not sure why it's there. It doesn't seem to really matter. But yeah, you can see I have a decent amount of gear. I have every slot filled. Yeah, so there's lots of different stats going on here. Outside of that, obviously, is skills, the bread and butter of a game like this, outside of loot, of course. Interesting kind of skill system in this game. You have, these are all your skill slots. You can see I have them down there. And your skills each consume a set number of points, and you can only have a certain number of points of skills at any given time. So right now I have only 1 point available, and you can see I don't have that many skills equipped. Even within this, there's some oddities, like let's say, just for convenience purposes, I just want this skill moved up to there. You apparently can't do that, so I noticed that pretty early on. Yeah, you have to drag things from the window, which would be fine, except there's a ton of skills. Some of them are nice and, don't cost anything. These ones I got from donating items, so I get passive plus 20% experience at all times, or plus 20% gold, which is nice, I guess. I believe the level cap is 50, so I'm already 14, and I'm not even through Chapter 1, so I'm not sure how fast that would be. Similar to kind of Diablo 3, you have your basic skills, and these replenish your energy, and then your advanced skills consume energy. So right now I have one basic skill, which is my Sureflight arrow, and I have that upgraded, so I leveled up enough that it gave me that. You don't pick what you get. It's automatic when you level up. So at level 15, you will always get Crippling Blade. So some of the skills are just outright bad. So in the basic skills, I've just been using Sureflight Arrow the entire time. I got something called Master Archer, and I'll show that here for a second if I can in town. So here's Sureflight Arrow. It's very fast, you can see. It does poison damage, and it ricochets off things and homes into them. And here's the other skill. It says it shoots in a wide arc. That's not an arc, it's just kind of a straight line. It does very minimal damage, and it doesn't hit as much as you would think it would based on how it looks. Sureflight is just overwhelmingly better. And the only other skill that I've been using really is this. It's just sort of a conal thing. It's by far the best of the actual energy spenders. Each character has their own unique mechanics. The elf's is she can roll. There's a slight cooldown on it. It doesn't display it anywhere. You just kind of have to mentally keep it in mind. And she also has this little fairy that kind of follows her around randomly. If you bump into it when it's glowing, it recovers your energy, and depending on your skills, might give you some buffs as well. So, but yeah, we'll go and we'll test these things out in combat, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this game takes place. It commits a major faux pas before I discuss the setting. The opening video tells you that cool things already happened, and you're playing after they already happened. For those who know Warhammer lore, this game takes place early in the reign of Magnus the Pious, one of the emperors, specifically right after he fights a giant war with Chaos and defeats the Everchosen, which would be a really cool moment to see in-game. No, this game takes place after that happens. You've just gotten back to Nuln after the war, and Chaos cultists are just causing trouble as they do. So, not incredibly exciting. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story. All these different characters are just friends of Magnus's that joined the war and happened to be in Nuln as Chaos was attacking. So, the Chaos cult is of course Nergal, because why not? Nergal is the safe bet if you want to put Chaos in a game, because he's slightly more exciting than Khorne, the Blood God, but easier to pull off than Sneech, the god of whispers and trickery and things like that, and safe for work, unlike Slaanesh. Obviously not going to see Slaanesh cultists in a game probably ever. Not very good for marketing unless you want that game to be adults only. So, Nergal, safe bet. It's pestilence, plague, things like that. So you get lots of gross things, little Nerglings, cultists that I can't zoom in to show you, but it looks like they have, little pustules on them and things like that. Get your Nergal demons. They're kind of gross looking. Somehow not immune to poison. All my attacks do poison. They don't seem to care. Lore-wise, doesn't make much sense, but whatever. So you can see I auto-loot fragments and gold, which is nice, because there's a lot of them. Again, don't know what fragments do. The game has not told me yet. That's good. These little red balls are my Bloodlust Meter. I unlocked that after a quest, and basically when I pop it, it makes me bigger and redder, and I only have one skill, and it's basically the this thing, but powered up, and it doesn't cost anything. Kind of underwhelming as a mechanic, but it's a thing. A little disappointed I haven't gotten any actual physical loot so far. I'm not disappointed, though, in the fact that this is finally a different level. The first, 5 or 6 levels were just sewers, and just using the same sewer map, which was very, very disappointing. So finally some variety. I'm outside in, I guess it's a graveyard, which is kind of nice. You have your mini-map up in the top right. Nothing ever shows on it except for treasure chests, so no way to track minions on it or things like that. Almost forgot I have this dryad thing that I can summon, and it always goes away whenever I go back to town, which is kind of annoying. But so you can see, this is I guess a mini boss. I don't know. Its health doesn't display or anything. So here's my that one skill I was talking about. See, it's not particularly good. It does a couple hundred damage a hit, or this does significantly more and almost as fast. So a bit of a letdown. Like I said, I've been using the same skills this entire time, which isn't unusual for an ARPG, but still kind of disappointing.
Oh, I don't have the energy.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, like I said, the dialogue mixing is a little weird. Not dialogue, the audio mixing as a whole is a little weird. You can see I ran out of energy. She was incredibly loud there, despite that being turned down. At one point in an earlier level, I stumbled upon a water wheel in the sewers, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life, if I was even remotely near to it. And I had, like, sound effects turned down as much as I could. So, alright, so here we have a Chaos Sorcerer. That's a new one. Okay. It's a big laser beam. Guess I could have dodged that with the roll, but right. Again, seems like probably a mini boss, but it doesn't tell you. The 2 times that I have fought bosses, their names did appear up on the screen, but honestly, they were easier than some of the mini bosses have been. Which is kind of odd. Okay. Tells me I have to light braziers. I don't know where those are. Okay, I guess they're back there. Alright. So yeah, we'll, like I said, we'll keep messing around. I'll keep kind of talking over this and go through this mission. But yeah, this game, like I said, it's not a bad game. It's a very mediocre game, though. Like I said, just lots of kind of little fiddly things with it. Not particularly engaging, so you can see why this maybe wouldn't have been an ideal stream game. Nothing against ARPGs. I play quite a lot of them, but I always sort of viewed them as just kind of mindless entertainment. This is something that I would play if I wanted to, listen to a podcast, or have an episode of something up on the other monitor, or just listen to music, things like that, and maybe watch someone else's stream. But yeah, it's very reminiscent. I mentioned in a previous video that I played Warhammer 40k Inquisitor last year, which is a 40k ARPG, and it was, I think, much better than this. Had some of the same sort of like jankiness issues, but not nearly as pronounced. And just in general, I think had a little bit more variety in terms of how it played and all that. Another thing I noticed is there does not seem to be any way to skip the story, at least not yet. Maybe there's something unlocks later on. But if you have to level through this every time if you wanted to make a new character, I could see that being kind of disappointing. But from what I can tell, everything I unlock seems to be account-wide. So like I made a Slayer just to try it out, and I saw that he had the guy that I could donate things to in the stash. So maybe I do unlock that later on, but just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, this game could use some quality of life things. Like the pickup radius on the auto pickups could stand to be a little bit bigger. It's pretty much exactly on my character. Again, might be bigger later, but it's hard to say. I would love auto pickup on other loot, just because normally there's so much of it that it's overwhelming. There's not very much now, of course, now that I'm talking about it, as is the way of things. But yeah, having to manually click on everything, it would be nice to not have to do that. And again, these are standard features in some other games. Okay. Not sure why I needed a cutscene there. There was no way to skip it or click out of it or anything, so... but yeah, just kind of little things like that. It'd be nice. You can see, let's look at some of the loot we got. Obviously, this piece, easy to judge off of. It's way better than what I have in every single category. You can see it's an improvement in attack and defense. I'm going to use it. But other things like this, if you were to actually go through and be like, well, do I really need that much crit chance and all that? While you're leveling up in a game like this, I'm just going to say it's got higher swords, so I'm going to use it. But you're missing out on things like, oh, this buffs my loot quality. That might be good. It's so hard to tell in a game like this, so I'm just looking at the absolute basic stuff. So, but again, someone with more time or something could absolutely go through and kind of check that out. But again, for leveling, I probably would just ignore it. Which is a shame because there's some in-depth itemization, but you get so much of it that it makes it almost worthless. It gives me hope for what the end game of this might be, but again, it seems like kind of an oversight to have that much in it as you go forward. Right, so we have to find the other brazier. Oops.
My link with Lauren is too.
Okay, so she's complaining about lack of energy again, and again, very loud. Like I said, just some sounds in this game, very, very loud. Obviously, worth pointing out, the elf is totally legally distinct Corellian from Vermintide. Just like the... I mean, she sounds a lot different, significantly different, but looks-wise, they just completely stole the look. Which, again, kind of to be expected, but the Slayer, he doesn't look like Barden, but he sounds identical to him. Haven't tried the other ones, but I suspect that the Empire Knight is totally not Kruber. So the only difference might be, obviously, the mage in this game is a male high elf as opposed to a female bright elf, or not bright elf, rather, bright wizard. So some difference there, but yeah. I'm not sure if it's just outright stealing or homage, but either way, it's hard to ignore that it's, characters are definitely inspired by Vermintide, which is a fantastic game, both of them are. So, if you want to scratch the Warhammer Fantasy itch, I would recommend them. And just in general, I think this game, unless you're a big fan of the source material, I probably wouldn't recommend it, at least at this point. I might play a little bit more and kind of see what I think, but it's nothing really jumping out at me about it special or anything like that. As far as ARPGs, Grim Dawn is better and cheaper. Path of Exile is significantly cheaper, being free, although that game is a massive grind, and it has layers on top of layers on top of layers of systems at this point. So for new players jumping in, it's just overwhelming. So you can see I leveled up, got a new skill. Automatically tosses out on my bar there. Actually, we'll get rid of that terrible one. And that one, because I literally never use it. Of course, I forgot. I can't move skills around like I want to. So I throw a dagger. It's real slow. Alright. Try it out there. Looks like it pierces things. That's good. Here we have a Nergo Mutilate. Interesting enemy choice. Especially because it seems to have vanished. Where did it... Nope. Okay. Because I just got too far away. Alright, so this is an actual big boss. The other ones were just named humans, which was disappointing. So this is something different. Oop. Let's see. I can summon up my Dryad. It doesn't take aggro or anything, and it seems to live indefinitely. It says in the skill that it lasts until it dies. I have never seen anything kill it. And it doesn't have a health bar, so I wouldn't know if it was getting close to dying. Again, just little bizarre quality of life things. I don't know if there is a dedicated pet class, but if there is, it sure would be hard to play without vital information like that. And I checked the options. There's no display for things like that. There's no key press I'm missing to zoom in, things like that. So this game came out in, was it spring of 2019, to some middling reviews, and they have released a lot of patches and updates and things for it, and DLC obviously since then, and looks like it's still maintained sort of middling reviews since then. The general consensus being that they haven't fixed enough, and the DLC is very expensive, which, again, there is $60 worth of DLC, and this is a $30 game at the base price, so worth keeping in mind. Right, so killed that. You can see the frame rate absolutely tanked when it died. I could have used the Bloodlust thing there, I didn't even think about it. But yeah, so I went from 140 FPS to 30 when it died and the little Nerglings popped out. So, but we got a lot of gear from it. Got a new hat. Again, totally not Corellian's hat. A way better bow. Pants were slightly better, I don't know. But yeah, the rest of this, not particularly good, so just leave it. And every level seems to be kind of the same way, where you go through and then at the end you either go to the next level, which is, of course, sewers, yay! You either go to the next level or you get shot up back into town. So, and there's nothing to do in town. It's massive, and there's just nothing there. It's kind of a waste. You can hear the water, very loud. So my apologies. Again, I've tried to adjust it. No help there. Friedrich Kessler. He is the leader of the cultists. Again, kissed by Papa Nurgle. He's got a lot of gross-looking things on him. So, okay. See here, we finally have stuff on the minimap. It's all the cultists that I need to kill, which is nice. This one's doing something. Can't really tell what. Let's throw some daggers at him. They do a decent amount of damage, though. Not as much as this. The other skills that I got, one of them like threw out a boomerang and it bounced off things, and that did a lot of damage, which was cool, except it had a terribly long cooldown that made it pretty much worthless. Oh boy, a lot of loot here. Okay. Oh. Alright.
It is done, High Lord Master.
Here's some of the voice acting. Again, can't change the character name. You're just always Elissa as the ranger.
And their leader?
And Teclis, the famous High Elf mage, is here for reasons.
Gone, High Lord Master. His power was as great as anything we faced on that black day.
Not sure why an Aserai warrior would care about him or, you know, address him as High Lore Master. Seems a little odd, but
underestimated our foe, High Lord.
Voss is the totally not super suspicious
No mere
witch hunter.
cult leader we're dealing with, but possibly a champion of Nergal.
Okay.
That explains.
I do not.
It means the cult was that we must find.
Alright, so yeah, like I said, we were tracking a Chaos cult because they were around. The game likes to do this, where characters will show up and talk to you and stick you in a cutscene, and then they'll disappear, and then you have to go and find them and talk to them again, which is kind of strange. Better loot from that one than what I got from the other one. Cool. Yeah, we'll equip all this stuff. Let's see. Alright, so that one's worse than what I have. All the gear looks kind of samey. And again, I guess it could just be an aesthetic choice. You want to always maintain the sort of profile of your character, which I can totally respect. But again, given that they have a transmog appearance system, it seems kind of strange. Let's see where it throws me. Right, back into town. Get some quest rewards, XP, gold crowns. Again, I don't know what they're for. Plus 10 red gem. Okay. Plus 10 gold gem. Blue. Alright, God's favors. Don't know what that is. there's been several times that I've completed quests and unlocked things, and it pops up there, but then it doesn't tell me what they are or how to do them or anything. Again, just sort of very odd. Right, we'll donate things. Like I said, just gonna trade all, give him everything. Yep, why not? Can't do anything else with it. You can see it unlocks appearances, and that's it. So we've done that. But yeah, that's pretty much how this game goes. I assume if I go in here and actually talk to Techlist that it'll probably throw me over to the next act. Oh, okay. So here we have, this is like the third tutorial window I've seen the entire game so far, after like, what, 3 or 4 hours at this point, at the time of recording this. So my god gives powerful blessings in exchange for things. To acquire favor, you need to spend 1 favor point. Okay. Alright, let's go into the menu. Okay, so there is a passive skill point, or passive skill tree, rather. It's like you start there. Okay. Seems pretty basic, so you can decide what you want to go for. I haven't killed that many champions. That seems kind of worthless. Summon a group of dryads. That could be good. Slow enemies. That could be good as well. Go for this. I guess the ranger is the pet class. Who would have thought? A lot of favor points though. Like a lot. So it's interesting. But yeah, so I guess there is a passive. Although one of the DLCs is another passive skill tree, which does not sit right with me at all. Just to be blunt about it. If there's passive bonuses like this, skill trees in the game, just given to people, I can see making a character, like a separate character DLC, but not core gameplay. That's a little shady. Some of the other DLCs are XP and gold boost, which is a little odd, especially given how fast I've been leveling. And another one is like cosmetic pets. Maybe they auto-gather loot for you, which would be nice, but not for the couple dollars that they cost. Again, that should just be a core gameplay thing. And maybe there are pets later, and I just haven't unlocked them yet. But yeah, so I got... What did I get? Said I got a god skill. Where is it? Oh, okay. Alright, so I can't even use it. That's that terrible thing that I wouldn't ever use. Right, yeah, that was pretty bad too. Alright, so we'll toss this out, see what it does. What? That was so loud. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I summoned a bunch of dryads. I guess they last forever? Doesn't... No? Okay. They have a cooldown, but it doesn't list a duration on them, but apparently it's only like 25 seconds. So again, just some oddities with this game, like lack of information from things. And given that the community playing it is kind of small, you wouldn't ever find that information anywhere else. Some positives, though, for this game that I will say, and might make it worth the purchase price, is this managed players. So you can do this, as far as I can tell, couch co-op, or automatically kind of jump in, jump out multiplayer online, which would be kind of nice. And this does have full bindings for both controller and keyboard and mouse, which is kind of cool. So again, you can, like I said, you can do couch co-op with it based on this. So if you're looking for that in a game like this could be a nice one. Diablo had that on the consoles, but not on PC, obviously. So if you, for example, have a Steam Link or a TV with the Steam Link app, and you want a couch co-op action RPG, this could be a good one for you. But yeah, I think that's probably the best and most interesting feature of it. Some loot quality, I don't know what that means. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to put something out on this just to kind of give it a brief overview and sort of my thoughts about it. But yeah, after playing it, I don't think it'll track super well for a stream. Boy, that thing does a lot of damage. Okay. but yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, just wanted to talk about this. I will be putting this out in lieu of a stream on Wednesday. Just gonna kind of take a little break that night, watch some TV or something, just relax a bit. But to compensate, we will still be doing Cuphead on Friday and Hades on Saturday. And those will be a little bit longer to make up for it. And I've already got some ideas for streams next week as well. This will unfortunately be probably yet another game that I don't finish on stream. But Cuphead and Hades, I'm thinking I will probably at least attempt to soldier through. So we'll start actually finishing some games now that I've got a variety of content out there. But I might do more things like this where I, in lieu of streaming a game, I just sort of talk about it a little bit. Again, especially if it's something that's either on sale or in a bundle or something like that that people might be interested in. So like I said, this is currently one of the big ticket items in this month's Humble Monthly. So if you're thinking of dropping, what is it, $15 to get the bundle, and let's say you have, a limited number of choices and this doesn't seem interesting to you, you might want to skip on it. The other games, the other big budget games in it is Pathologic 2 and what is it, Humankind, the game where you play as monkeys. I can't say I'm super interested in that one, and Pathologic is like a very spoiler-heavy game, so I wouldn't want to spoil that on a stream, especially given that it is fairly new. So there are other videos out on those, though, if you're curious. But yeah, this is the one that was most up my alley. This should have been a match made in heaven. I like action RPGs, like Warhammer, but again, just a little underwhelming. Not a bad game by any means, just mediocre and a little jank, which in some ways I think hurts a little bit more. But yeah, thanks for watching and checking this out. Hopefully this was informative to you. Switch back to the specific intro screen, and even though it's the outro. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and like I said, keep tuning in. We'll be doing some more actual game streams and maybe some videos in the future. So have a good one.